Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us on a Monday for this session regarding the Bupa private medical insurance scheme services that are available through ECIS. Now, my name is Vicki Leslie. I am the Client Relationship Manager at ECIS. And who are ECIS, I hear you call out. So we are a regulated intermediary that are a wholly owned subsidiary of the ECA. So effectively, ECA, we operate on behalf of ECA members and for ECA members in terms of any employee benefit arrangements that you may be interested in. Now, part of that is we have for many years, back to the heady days of 1980, we've actually offered a large private medical insurance scheme for behalf of ECA members that enables you to obviously look at putting your employees on cover and providing those services to really engage with and support your employees. Now, I'm very pleased today that we have the wonderful Johnny Hudson, who is our Bupa Account Manager, joining us, who's now just going to take you through a short presentation about the Bupa services that are available. Please do feel free at any point to put any questions that you may have in the chat, and obviously we will address any of those and look through those at the end. Over to Johnny.
Thanks very much, Vicky, and thanks to everybody for joining the session today. So, as Vicky mentioned, I'm Johnny Hudson. I'm one of the key account managers at Bupa and ultimately responsible for the relationship that we share with the ECA and its members. So, the purpose of today is to share with you a little bit of insight into Bupa. I'll make you aware of what's available to you as a Bupa customer. I'm going to start off by talking through all the details of the policy and the benefits that you get by being a Bupa member, touching on really important things such as how to claim with all the other support that's available to you. We will leave the questions until the end, but there is a chat function, so if you do want to submit any questions as we go along, that's absolutely fine. Of course, there may be some questions which may require a little bit more of a clinical view, so we'll also ensure that these are confirmed following the session for you. But really, we're going to jump straight into things, beginning with fast access to support. So there are certain conditions where you don't need to see your GP before contacting Bupa, and we offer direct access to treatment. So for muscle, bones and joint, you'll hear me refer to it throughout the session as MSK. Any symptoms of cancer and mental health, we provide you with the ability to contact us directly. And it's important to note that with Bupa, the direct access pathways aren't mandated. So if you did have a digital GP or a traditional GP referral, that's absolutely fine as well. So for MSK, if you do have any muscle, bone or joint issues, just give Bupa a call and we'll arrange a telephone consultation with a senior physiotherapist. You'll be able to discuss your symptoms and treatment options. For any concerns or for symptoms of cancer, again, you'll be able to give Bupa a call and we'll triage the symptoms and can refer to a specialist there and then for appropriate diagnostics and consultations so that we're able to diagnose your conditions much faster. And then for mental health, if you are experiencing any symptoms of a mental health condition, and that can be things such as stress, anxiety, or any other mental health condition for that matter, again, you'll be able to contact us directly and speak to one of our mental health practitioners who can listen and guide you to the right source of support. Now, it's important to note that if you are underwritten with Bupa or under a moratorium arrangement, then there could be an additional need to request some medical history from your GP as part of this process. And I'll talk a little bit about underwriting just a little bit later on in the session. So I wanted to go into a little bit more detail about some of the specialist support teams that we have available to customers through Bupa, starting off with our MSK team. So we all rely on our bodies for every move we make, so any issues need to be sorted as quickly as possible. Otherwise, it can have a huge impact on your health and well-being. So our physiotherapists can offer advice on managing your pain and can provide a specialist referral if you need one. So during that initial telephone conversation, the physiotherapist can give you practical advice, self-help exercises to aid recovery, and also help you manage that condition a little bit better. And if face-to-face treatment is needed, we can arrange for you to see an appropriate specialist. And it's important to note that we'll also explore all treatment options with you to allow you to make an informed decision about your treatment plan. And if you are awaiting surgery, then you can access case management support with structured sort of prehabilitation, as well as pain management advice and online resources. And that could include all sorts of things like I've already mentioned, personalised exercise programs to improve sort of joint mobility, strengthen your muscles surrounding the joint, which, can obviously help in the best health, pre-surgery being in the best health possible for when your treatment's ready to take place. The clinicians as well can also help you manage your pain through lifestyle advice and education and guide you through online pain management resources as well. And just to put into context, and I will talk about our facilities finder shortly as well, but as a Bupa member, you'll have access to a network of close to 3,000 physiotherapists, and there's also more than 2,000 osteopaths, chiropractors and podiatrists, so quite an extensive network covering our MSK support. Moving on to our cancer promise. So if you are diagnosed with cancer, you've got reassurances that there aren't any financial or time limits on the policy. You'll have access to breakthrough drugs and treatments often before they're available on the NHS, as long as they're approved by NICE and evidence-based. Treatments can be taken within one of our networks of specialist cancer centres, specialist hospitals and Bupa recognised facilities, and that's with Bupa recognised consultants. And also, if appropriate, chemotherapy itself can be administered in the home setting. We've also developed specialist breast and bowel cancer centres, which offer quick access to support with a multidisciplinary team at the hospital. So again, in one visit there, you can be given the all clear, or obviously if required, diagnostics and tests can be done within 2 working days of calling Bupa. And obviously, if there is a diagnosis of cancer, it just means that treatment itself can commence really quickly. So they promise to begin treatment within 31 days of the initial appointment, which is twice as fast as would be on the NHS typically. A few more things in terms of cancer support. So the specialist support team are on hand to offer advice on vital decisions as well. Understanding that cancer diagnosis can be difficult, there's a lot of emotional and psychological support available if required with our team of counsellors. We also look to support families as well, because we think that's really important. So we offer support conversations with children to explain diagnosis and treatments really clearly. And we also provide access to what's known as our cancer survivorship program as well, which was designed to support the transition from cancer treatment to living with and beyond cancer. So the team again will support with things such as any concerns that you might have, lifestyle advice, and some signposting to support groups as well that we think might be helpful. And then additionally, through our specialist support teams, we also offer a remote skincare pathway. So if you are concerned about a mole or lesion, there's no need for a GP referral. Again, just call us and one of our team will triage your symptoms, and where appropriate, they'll arrange to send you a kit which includes a dermatoscopic lens. You take the images and these are uploaded and assessed by a dermatologist, and results will then obviously be confirmed for you, and anything suspicious will be investigated. So again, a really, really useful function, and that sort of tags onto the back end of our cancer support service. And on to mental health now. So for mental health conditions, we've made access to treatment much easier. So for those of you that have actually been with Bupa for a long time, historically there was a 3-year policy ruling for mental health support, but that time limit's now being removed. So it means that we can support if mental health conditions reoccur. We've also extended our cover into areas that weren't previously covered. So really the exceptions to sort of mental health support would include things such as learning difficulties, behavioural and developmental problems, and dementia. They're kind of your 3 key areas of exclusion. But as a result of the time limitations being removed, it means that we're now able to offer that ongoing support through things like how to manage mental health, whether that be the maintenance of a diagnosed mental health condition or help with managing ongoing symptoms. And again, just a note on that as well, when you have had that telephone consultation with our mental health practitioners, who will listen to you, they'll be in a position to then explain what the best course of action is. So you could be referred on to the most appropriate treatment, which could be a variety of things such as talking therapies, online CBT is a fairly common one, or psychiatry as well. So it's a really, really strong team. Now, this is slightly different because it does require a GP referral, but I also wanted to mention our remote cardiac pathways. So the traditional route for cardiac is face-to-face consultations and diagnostics, of course, as well. But during COVID, that was extremely difficult, and it led to us introducing our rapid cardiac pathways. So we can now offer remote consultations and diagnostics. As I mentioned, a GP referral is required, and with a call into our specialist support teams, we'll be able to guide and support you accordingly. Results themselves can obviously be delivered by remote consultation, and obviously once a treatment plan is provided, and obviously where there is a need for treatment, that can begin again relatively quickly. So again, a really useful tool. So I know I've spoken broadly about direct access pathways, the specialist patient support. So I'm just going to recap on routes to care, as well as note the more traditional routes to treatment. So I started off by talking about direct access, contacting us before speaking to a GP. So for the conditions I mentioned, MSK, mental health and cancer, you can use our direct access pathways. There's no need for a GP referral. Just call the team, explain your symptoms, and we'll assess and guide you appropriately. For any other condition, or if you do have a GP referral, we will ask you to provide us with a referral from a GP that specifies the type of specialist that you need to see. A name referral is of course acceptable, and I'll talk you through our facilities finder shortly. But for eligible treatment, the advisor will provide a pre-authorization code, usually for the initial consultation, diagnostics and initial tests. And then as you go through the treatment, it's just really important that you keep us updated at each stage of your treatment journey. And that way we can continue to provide you with all the reassurances that treatments will be covered, and obviously give you the pre-authorization codes for you to take to your treatment provider. And that takes me nicely into our virtual GP services, which is delivered in partnership with Babylon. So as a Bupa member, you will have access to the Babylon app, and that includes any dependents that you've got covered on your Bupa policy. So the service itself is already available, but if you are yet to join, it will be immediately available at your start date. For those of you who haven't seen or heard of Babylon previously, it essentially means that you can talk to a GP, nurse or pharmacist at any time of day or night directly from your mobile. Appointments themselves are normally available within a matter of hours. And from Bupa's perspective, the Babylon GPs can issue referral letters, which can be used if you need to pre-authorise treatment with Bupa, which really complements our service and provides that all-round fast access to care. For general care, they can also provide prescriptions. So you can have your prescriptions sent electronically to your chosen pharmacy for collection, or have your medication delivered to your door. Now, the only note I would make with this particular aspect is the fact that the cost of this will be a private prescription. It's not linked to the NHS, so prescription costs could be more or could be less than the cost of an NHS prescription. You can also use the Babylon symptom checker. So they have a powerful AI tool which essentially analyzes millions of different symptom combinations in seconds to give you the most relevant health information. So to access Babylon, all you need to do is download the app, and that's available via the App Store or Google Play, obviously depending on the type of device that you've got, and just register and enter your details as they appear on your Bupa registration, and just complete the code that is specific to this very scheme. And that recognises you're a Bupa member and will provide the services as part of the Bupa proposition. So you'll be prompted for a code which is actually on screen at the moment. It's ECIS PMI. Okay. So moving on to our facilities finder. So Finder is our online resource that puts all Bupa recognised specialists and services at your fingertips, so you can view all the information you need, so you can make an informed decision about where to go and who to see for your treatment. You can search for a Bupa recognised consultant, therapist, anaesthetist. You can do that by specialty, postcode or name. You can read about their experiences and qualifications. You can find out more about the facilities and services they offer near to your home and work. Importantly, you can find things like contact numbers so that you can book an appointment, and obviously you can see where they are on a map as well. And just to put into context, as I did earlier, but you've got a choice from over 22,000 consultants. There's over 1,200 facilities as well across the UK. So it's a really expansive network and a really, really useful tool for our customers. So moving on to the features of the PMI scheme. So now with this section, I just wanted to confirm for full benefit details, terms and conditions of the policy, you should refer to your registration certificate and membership guide, or equally you can contact our member services to discuss it further if you really wish to. That's absolutely fine. But I just wanted to focus on some of the key areas worth highlighting as part of the insurance, and that's starting with the underwriting variations that do differ based upon the cover that you elect. Starting off with medical history disregarded. So that means that we don't take into consideration pre-existing conditions. So you are covered for any eligible condition that may have been present prior to joining Bupa. And therefore, there's no requirement for you to provide Bupa with any medical history. Now, it would be important for me to highlight that cover is designed to support acute conditions. So any emergency cover should be accessed by A&E. But also worth noting that chronic conditions, there's a general exclusion placed on chronic conditions such as asthma or arthritis. So we only support sort of the acute flare-ups of those conditions, but thought we'll caveat that under the MHD underwriting. Moving on to full medical underwriting. So this means that your medical history is taken into account before we decide on what medical conditions we may or may not be able to cover. So as we usually don't cover you for any pre-existing conditions, you'll be asked about your medical history when you apply. And it's just essential that you give us all the information we ask for, even if you've got symptoms that have not yet been diagnosed. We might ask for confirmation from your GP or specialist that a condition is not pre-existing. So FMU, full medical underwriting, helps to ensure you know exactly what you're covered for when you join, and it may help speed up the process of claiming. Also, any new conditions that arise after the start of your policy will be covered, obviously subject to your policy terms and as long as they're not related to any prior underwriting already applied. And then the final type of underwriting is called rolling moratorium. So with rolling moratorium underwriting, you won't need to fill in a health questionnaire about your medical history when you join. However, when you try to make a claim, you'll have to complete a pre-treatment form each time so that we can confirm if the condition is new or pre-existing. If your condition began after joining, this claim will be paid, provided it's eligible under your policy. However, if you require a consultation or treatment during the first 2 years of your policy for a pre-existing condition, this wouldn't be covered. A pre-existing condition, wouldn't be covered until 2 continuous years have passed after joining without any symptoms, treatment or advice. So probably use an example actually to explain this. So in the 2 years before you joined, you had a spinal problem and a lung problem as well, perhaps. During the first 2 years of the policy, the spinal condition required treatment, but the lung condition didn't. So after 2 years, because you'd had no symptoms, treatment or advice for the lung condition, you'd be able to get this covered and removed as an exclusion by medical underwriting at renewal. The spinal condition would be covered once you've been symptom treatment and advice free for 2 years. If you're ever unclear about any aspect of a policy, then again, just refer to your membership guide, go online or call your usual member services helpline and we'll be able to support you with any questions that you might have. Having an excess means that you have to pay your treatment costs up to the amount of your excess. So a rolling excess, with a rolling excess, you pay this on your first eligible claim per member. So with a rolling excess, you will only ever need to pay the total amount of your excess once every 12 months, even if you make more than one claim and for more than one condition. So an example would be if your treatment costs, £500 and you've agreed an excess of £150, you'll pay £150 and we'll pay the remaining balance of £350. The only thing that's important to note here is that your excess restarts every 12 months, even if your treatment is ongoing. So if your excess, it could effectively apply twice to a single claim if your treatment begins and ends beyond that 12-month period. So that's just worth bearing in mind. Cash benefits. So if you opt for an NHS hospital stay, we'll pay you a cash benefit for every night you stay in hospital, and a cash back amount of £200 per night up to a maximum of 35 nights will be payable. I know that I described that the policies generally have full cancer cover, and if you have treatment for cancer in an NHS day case or inpatient setting, there is actually a cash benefit payable of £100 cash per day for that as well. So again, really worth taking into consideration, especially dependent on things like sick pay arrangements through work. It could be that people move on to a statutory sick pay, but it doesn't mean that those sort of financial responsibilities and burdens go away. So something like an NHS cash benefit is a nice contribution towards those financial responsibilities that you have at home, and it takes a bit of the pressure off. Now I'm going to move on to Bupa Touch next, and just all the additional support that we provide to our customers. So Bupa Touch. Now Bupa Touch is our new online portal to help you manage your health cover quickly and securely, just to check your documents and benefits information so that you're always in control. You'll be able to find answers to health questions with a library of trusted health information, and I'll talk to you about that shortly. But you'll also be able to access all the other digital services, like I mentioned, such as the digital GP service with Babylon. You can book an appointment with a specialist without needing to call us. You'll be able to review and access your claims history, and benefit from more services such as some 24-hour healthline services, which I'll talk about shortly, along with the family mental health line. The good news is that one login does it all with Bupa. So if you already have other policies or products with us at a consumer level, such as dental insurance, or you've had a health assessment historically, it means you'll be able to access them through the Bupa Touch account as well. And that's as well as seeing and navigating to other digital services, which I mentioned anyway. And by combining that online and personal support, Touch itself, it just gives you access to a range of services designed to put you in that control. But equally, when you do need to claim or speak directly to one of our team, it's just simply a case of doing so, and we take care of the rest. And the actual experience itself, it focuses on 3 areas which align to the digital tools available to you within Touch. So you've got My Cover, which is about putting you in control of your policy. It's your go-to place for access to policy information and documents with links to other digital services. There's a My Care section, which is around supporting you when you're worried or concerned. And then finally, My Wellbeing, which is around helping you to understand more about your health so you can be at your best. You will see on screen, there's a URL there to Bupa Touch, which is bupa.co.uk/touch dashboard. So all of the next features that I'm going to talk about actually are available within Bupa Touch, but I would encourage anyone that's currently insured to access the Touch dashboard and familiarise themselves with it. So we've teamed up with Silver Cloud through Touch to give you access to online mental wellbeing programs. So Silver Cloud itself can help you manage stress, sleep better, build resilience. It's really easy to get started. So once you've selected the icon within Bupa Touch, it takes you through to the Silver Cloud dashboard, and then you just select the sign up button to set up an account. Programs contain simple to follow information. There's videos, tools and activities that help you look after your mental and emotional well-being. Every program's has a relevant validated questionnaire, which only takes a couple of minutes to answer, and it helps you track your progress. Your answers, and indeed anything that you fill in or write using the program, is kept completely confidential as well. You can access all the sections in your program from your homepage. There's some helpful tips in there as well at the same time. But the programs themselves are really easy to follow. And then as you progress, you'll find new activities that will help you apply what you learn into your sort of daily life. Okay, so it's a really, really useful tool for our customers. We have a 24-hour day, 365-day-a-year nurse-led healthline service. So as a Bupa member, you'd have access to the nurse-led healthline service, where you can speak to trained clinicians who can help and support you with any medical questions, or health and wellbeing support, and that can be anything from travel advice, medication advice, diagnosis information. There's seasonal advice and advice for children as well, and it's not too dissimilar to the NHS 111 service. The only real difference being that it's, rather than being sort of scripted conversations with an advisor, it's clinically led, so it's a really, really useful tool. Similar to our Healthline service, we also provide access to a menopause Healthline. So obviously menopause itself, it's a natural part of life, but doesn't always come up naturally in conversation, especially in places like the workplace. So that's why we've created the new menopause Healthline service. And it means that you can basically call a menopause trained nurse in complete confidence for personalised clinical advice on managing symptoms, and obviously support moving forwards. The advice itself, it's free to all, all of those that are insured, and you can call as many times as you like with no impact on your benefits. Family mental health support line is also available, and this is aimed at parents and carers who have got concerns about a child or a young person's mental and emotional well-being. So we've got a team of trained advisors and mental health support nurses that are on hand to help. It's purely an advice, support and signposting service, which is separate to the main pre-authorization claims line. But the good thing with this is that your children don't need to be an insurance customer to benefit from this support, which hopefully gives you as a parent that additional piece of support when it's needed the most. So as I say, it's purely an advice, support and signposting service, but it's really useful. Health hubs. So take a look at bupa.co.uk. There's a wealth of clinically supported health information which is continually updated. So on there you'll find videos, health blogs, health topics and podcasts that are regularly updated by our clinical teams. We also provide access to a full A to Z of health information. So again, for most people who are diagnosed with a condition, which especially might be unfamiliar to them, we often take ourselves to places like Google or other search engines where we tend to bring up the horror stories. But we know that through the health hubs, you would be, greeted with credible information from a reliable source. So it's a really, really useful tool. And then finally, Bupa Rewards. So as a Bupa member, you've got access to the Bupa Rewards portal via Cherry London, and that provides you with access to discounts and brand savings all year round. And signing up is, really easy. Just go to bupa.co.uk/corporate-bupa-rewards and just register to access the savings. The login itself is the same as your Bupa membership number when you come to register. Okay. And that actually takes me to the end of the presentation itself. So I hope you found that useful. And yeah, we can move straight on to questions. If that's okay, Vicki.
Hi, Johnny. Thank you. Yeah, very interesting. As we said, this today really was just designed to be a bit of an overview. If you do have the Bupa private medical insurance, then it was the chance obviously for you to maybe understand a little bit more about the benefits that are provided. And if maybe you're insured separately from the ECA scheme, or you don't have private medical insurance, but maybe you're considering it, then again, it was to give sort of that background and information. Especially because there is such a wealth of support that's available that obviously we're really wanting to make sure people are aware of. Now, one of the first questions we have had has come through to say, I am a member of an electrical firm, ECA member. I have employees. Does this extend to my staff as well, or is it just to myself? So this scheme is actually, just to give a little bit of context in terms of how this policy works, it is what we call a corporate arrangement. Now, if any of you do have PMI and have sort of under 50 employees on cover, or if you don't have private medical insurance, but you're looking at less than 50 employees, you would be looking at what we call an age-rated contract. It's a little bit of a different contract. And one of the real big benefits of the ECA contract is its size. So it covers around 14,000 people currently. Now, that does mean that obviously there's a certain protection protection that's provided were you to make claims on the policy, because you have such a large number of people covered and you're spreading your claims risk. So it is a company scheme. So to answer the very nice question that we've had in, it is absolutely available to employees. Now, again, one of the differences in terms of our cover is it does start from a minimum of one person at the business. So, for example, that could be a company owner or a director, but then you can extend it out and offer it to a number of your employees. And under the corporate umbrella, Johnny has given sort of an overview of all of those core benefits, but we do have a couple of different options in terms of some of the cover that's provided. So we have a scheme called the ECIS scheme, and then we have our value policy, both that fall within the contract that Johnny has gone through today. So it's absolutely possible that, yes, we can provide quotations for a singular business owner, or you can then choose to cover your employees as well. Which interestingly brings us on to the second question that we've had is the cover available to family members? So the answer to that one again is yes, it is. So it means that you can cover partners or spouses, or you don't have to be married. The partner would need to live at the same address, and children can be covered up to the age of 25. So in that situation, they would be removed from cover the renewal following their 25th birthday. So they don't automatically come off at their birthday. It's the renewal following their 25th birthday. Just whilst I'm going through this, if anyone does have any other questions, please do feel free to put them in the chat, obviously, so we can address them for you this afternoon. Now, as I said, we're here really to support the members. So ECIS, owned by the ECA, so we're really here to give you any help and support that you need. So my team and I are on hand to answer any questions that you may have. If you'd be interested in finding out some more information about the private medical insurance, as I said, if you're an insured member and have a specific question we can help with, and if you're not, and this is something that you are considering, I think we're very aware at the moment of concerns regarding things like NHS waiting times, how that can impact if we're losing people out of the business for a period of time whilst they're waiting to get any kind of medical treatment and support. And we're also aware at the moment that we are in a time of a significant skill shortage. So again, really engaging with your employees, being an employer of choice and showing support for your staff who are kind of at the heart of your business can be a really, really important thing. And private medical insurance can be a very strong tool in terms of that acquisition and retention message. So if anyone does have anything they would like to know, my lovely esteemed colleague Omar is just about to put in the group chat my contact details. So that will be my contact telephone number, my email address. So if anybody does need anything or would like any quotations at all, please do feel free to get in touch with us any way that we can help. And obviously we'll be more than happy to provide those. Now, Johnny covered the three core underwriting criteria. Just to let you know, if you do have an existing policy and it may be coming up for renewal, or as it comes up for renewal later on in the year, we are able to transfer existing policies over to the ECA scheme, and it could be that we could provide you with some good competitive terms. So again, if you're just wanting to sort of have an idea of costs, we can absolutely give that to you, and we're able to transfer you over to ensure that you don't lose your current underwriting. So we would transfer you into the Bupa scheme on your current underwriting criteria. That would just carry across like there'd been no change. And I'm sure Johnny will nod happily with me when I say it's a very smooth transition. Yeah. It's very straightforward, very easy. Now, as I said, there may be times, depending on the size or scale of your scheme, that we may not necessarily be competitive, but there have been many, many instances that we have been able to save members some fairly significant amounts of money. So more than happy to have the opportunity to look at any schemes as and when they come up for renewal. Now, we've managed to do well for time. We don't currently have any other questions in the no, I've had one that comes through. Please, could I ask, does the insurance cover a medical for members? No. So what we do have available for ECA members, so any member of the ECA JIB, you actually have access to discounted health assessments. So they're not included as a core part of the plan, so it's not incorporated within the private medical insurance, but we do have a scheme that is available which will give you discounts off of health assessments. So again, Vanessa, if you'd like to just drop me an email, I'll be happy to give you the pricing for those, including the discounts that Bupa provide us. And then it's very simple to just contact your local Bupa centre. They will then provide you with availability and book you in for a health assessment should you want one. And those health assessments do cover a range of tests. Again, I always find it really interesting, and I appreciate that today we're not on a call where everybody's on, but if I said to everyone, oh, could I ask you to raise your hands if you've had your car serviced in the last couple of years? And probably most of us would do that. And then if I do say, how many people have had a health assessment in the last few years? And you sort of see people go, oh, haven't done that. And health assessments can be a fantastic way of identifying early any health problems or potential health problems. So when we ran a series of these back in 2017, we undertook about 1,700, and a potential health problem or health problem was identified in 32% of cases. So they can be, health assessments can be a very, very good way of understanding early if there's anything that maybe isn't quite right, or giving you the peace of mind that everything is going well. And I would really, really encourage, one of the things Johnny has talked about a lot today is the ease of access of services. And Bupa have really, with COVID and everything, Bupa really are looking at streamlining so that people, there's not the barriers in terms of thinking you have to be in a clinical environment or you have to attend an appointment. So many aspects can now be done. I call it armchair healthcare, because you literally can be sitting in your armchair, make a phone call and start the process. Obviously, we said the Babylon, the direct access services for musculoskeletal, cancer, Johnny mentioned the cardiac service, skin assessment, all of these can be done with a phone call. So we would really, really encourage, and again, this is a message we would encourage people to disseminate to your employees. If you have the Bupa and if there's anything you are concerned about, please do just get it checked, okay? Any consultant, any clinician would tell you they would rather spend an hour checking and giving you the news that everything is fine than you putting something off and then potentially having the news that there's now going to be a lot of tests or potentially the outcome is not as good. So again, if you do have the PMI, we're happy to support with any employee engagement. We can help with the artwork for flyers, leaflets, anything that we can, again, raise the awareness with your employees so that they're really benefiting from this fantastic policy that you have in place. If there are any other questions, I'm going to give a couple of seconds just to see if anything else comes in. Okay. Well, everyone does have my contact details, so please do feel free to get in touch. I'd really like to thank Johnny today for taking the time. Obviously, he really understands the Bupa landscape and the Bupa family very well. So, Johnny, thank you very much for going through everything. That was really helpful today.
No problem at all. And I know that these sessions don't necessarily lend themselves to the more personal questions. So again, if anybody does want to reach out and want to understand a little bit more about anything in particular, feel free to get in touch with Vicki and myself, and we'll do our best to come back to you. But no, aside from that, thanks for your time today. Really appreciate it.
And I will second that. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope it's been useful. And anything that you do need, as we've said, please do get in touch. And have a very good Monday afternoon, everybody. Take care.